Yo, it's your boy Kid Class, and I just got my producer talk with Lalaa.
What's good? This is 7 a.m. I'm going to give a shout out to the Progress Report. Much love.
The Progress Report.
All right, what's going on? This is your girl Lalaa Shepard. This is a Progress Report. This is producer talk with the special exception today. So, fellas, introduce yourselves.
What's good? I'm 7 a.m.
Kid Class.
All right, Kid Class, man. We was talking earlier in the hallway we've been supporting each other for a long time. We've both been on the grind, both progressing. But reintroduce yourself to the audience.
So Kid Class, I'm producer, songwriter, studio owner, engineer, all that good stuff. Work with different artists. My biggest claim to fame so far is the Won't He Do It record for Kareem Hawthorne. Got Grammy nominated and Dove Awards and Billboards, all that good stuff. And then, Ryan Devine, YG, bunch of people. 7 a.m.
Word. Definitely. Okay, 7 a.m., go ahead and introduce yourself.
What's good? 7 a.m. again. I'm from Atlanta. I'm a native. I'm Bankhead originally. Been doing music for a long time. Put out an album in 2017, which is kind of climbing me up to fame, called Sober. We just released the second one called Relapsed. And now this one with Kid Class, man. So yeah, just more music coming, Starving Artist Stage, you feel me?
Starving Artist Stage. How did you guys link?
It's Noonie.
Yeah, Noonie, yeah. So my partner Noonie, I don't know how he found you.
The company I'm with, like the indie label, had linked with, I guess his man is Noonie, and Noonie was helping out, just move the stuff in the direction it needed to be. And then me and him linked up outside of that and just kind of built our own bond, and just started making some dope joints. So kind of just naturally, after that first meeting, dope just attracts dope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so.
Respect. Can you guys talk about the current state of R&B? Y'all thoughts on it?
I mean, I like the current state of R&B. I like the elements that it's incorporating. I feel like it's actually more challenging for R&B singers because of the rappers are now singing. You know what I mean? So, I know the old heads like to go about like what it was and all that, but I like to think it's actually being innovated more because it's more challenging, because now you got more competition than just R&B singers. You got rappers you're going against.
That's a good point. Point.
It's hitting the R&B billboards.
Right.
I think it's fire. I mean, as an artist, I do both. So, but primarily I sing. So, I think it's dope that everything is kind of a blend. It's a mesh. Like, you don't really know what the next record somebody about to put out is gonna sound like. So, and I always been like that. And coming up in the game, they always tell you that you gotta sound like this or this, or pick a lane, or you can't do this and that. And the barrier is broken now. So, I think the state of music in general is just broad. It's just in a state of expansion, and I feel like it allows artists to expand instead of being stuck with this one thing their entire career.
Gotcha.
So it's hot to me.
Nah, I respect. Like, I love R&B. I also love rap. I know, Kid, with you've never been afraid to, produce in those different genres. You know what I mean? And that's one thing I've always respected about you, because I think with music, it does change, especially with us being in Atlanta. We see the changes.
For sure.
So something that might be a trend one day is not the trend the next day. So I think, what y'all said about more rappers now getting in that genre, that's so true. Because, like, before, some people was doing it, but it wasn't cool.
Yeah.
Right.
So talk about just sticking to y'all guns, like, just with that point being made, like, doing R&B music for a long time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, too, with you, just being able to produce for all those genres.
Okay. For me, R&B, like I actually started off rapping before I sang. So I wasn't really too confident in my voice. It's a bit peculiar, you know what I'm saying? So back, like I said, I'm 28, so you know, coming up and when people was only talking about 90s R&B and then the early 2000s R&B, it had a specific box that, you know what I'm saying, you had to fit in. So for me, it was challenging starting, because it's like you especially in like high school, because I started middle school, high school era. It was challenging trying to figure out where I wanted to go with it, because like it was a contrast between knowing what everyone else think is hot, but then knowing what I think is hot. So it's been a journey of really just finding that balance, you know. And I think once I found it started to, okay, I was like, oh damn, who's that? I was like, oh, okay, cool. So now it makes sense. But you know, it definitely was challenging, you know. I mean, I think every artist has their challenge when they're trying to find their sound, because it's easy to just regurgitate. It's easy to just emulate something you know what I'm saying, you hear all the time, and you know that's what you want to feed people, you know what I'm saying. But when you're really trying to be a trendsetter, it's like it may take longer. So for me, that's kind of just what I'm noticing. It's just like trying to set a wave and start a wave is a lot more difficult than just riding one. You know what I'm saying? But I'm happy now that it's like I said, they want to see you start a wave. Everybody, like, they're excited for it, you know. I mean, you still got the people that's going to regurgitate, but like, I think that's when you get past that you get to that idol status. It's when you done started a wave, and that's always my goal.
Respect.
Yeah.
Okay. Kid.
All right, yeah. I mean, yeah, for me, as far as producing, it's easy to try to do what the next producer is doing, whether it's these type of trap beats or these type of pop beats or these type of whatever, but then you just get categorized into these, like, to doing what the next person has done. Like, dang, this beat sounds like Zaytoven would do it, or this beat sounds like, you know what I mean? So I think early, I think I talked myself out of doing that early, even though I started that way in a sense, you know, because I came in like the Soulja Boy era. You know what I mean? And so it was like all the, you know, that's when Fruity Loops was really getting hated on.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Now it's treasured and all this other stuff, you know what I mean? But then Fruity Loops was like, you don't know. And then, you know what I mean? So, and if he was on Fruity Loops, he sounded like Soulja Boy. So I had to find a way to, I could still do what you do in a way and still make it sound just as big and still use just different instrumentation and not be compared to Soulja Boy. You know what I mean? So that was more like my fight at the beginning, you know what I'm saying? But I think ultimately it's about finding your lane and how you want to go about doing what you're doing. And I know for me, I think I found now, even for how we even started collabing, I feel like now it's like you got your people who chase placements, you got your people who make beats all day, and you got your people who like building with artists, you know what I'm saying? And I'm at that point, like, even though, you know, you can get the placements and do all the other stuff, but I love building. So I think that took a certain route from producing to not, you can't sound like nobody if that's what you love doing. You can't build nothing if you sound like everybody else. So
that's real. I respect that. Fellas, talk about y'all influences. Who's some people that each of you guys looked up to musically and why?
For me, Kanye, Pharrell, Dr. Dre, really like just those power heads, because I like how they move from a business standpoint, and I would even say Jay-Z but that's for a person like me.
Right.
You know what I mean? A person like me, I would, you know, I'm not the typical just beat maker or whatever. So, but, you know, I always role model the Jay-Z's and what Pharrell has done and Kanye and everybody. So those are my biggest influences. And then from just a strictly production side, I would give it to my boy DJ Toomp. I'm trying to think. I like people I don't even be knowing who they like. Dr. Luke. Like I be like, see, like I said, I like to incorporate different. Not, I think that's his name, right? Dr. Luke.
That's it.
Yeah. So, I like to incorporate different genres. So, my favorite producer may be over there somewhere.
What's that?
Is it Uncle Luke?
Nah, Uncle Luke.
Well, that's the person. That's funny. That's hilarious.
That's what that almost threw me off. I'm like, I don't want to sound like no idiot.
That's hilarious. Where they're two valid people.
All right, they are, but
Yeah,
Uncle Luke
respect.
didn't inspire me.
That's
Like
funny.
from a producer.
Yeah. That's hilarious. All right, 7 a.m. What about you? Talk about some of your influences.
Man, I'm kind of like him. I'm influenced by everything. Like I grew up listening to everything, but like music wise, it would have to be just old schools. Like I don't know why. It's just they just resonate with me. Al Green, Otis, Prince. I grew up listening to that in my house all the time. Michael, my first CD was Dangerous, you know. So like I wasn't even allowed to, as much as I love hip hop and always been an enthusiast, it couldn't get played in my house. So like I was playing that, I was playing like my favorite CDs is Voodoo by D'Angelo. Just because of how much it was on the CD, like those are the CDs I had, like it was just straight R&B and soul and funk, and then eventually I got into hip hop, when they weren't home and I could blast it on the stereo. So my first CD was a Biggie CD on hip hop. So like it's just older music, you know what I'm saying, like stuff that's technically before my time, but that's what I always really bumped. Like I never really bumped stuff that was current at the moment, because like I really wasn't allowed to. So like I would just go through, my mom's had hundreds and hundreds of CDs, so I would just pick, like, I'm saying, John B. She had some Cisco, it'd be like some Carl Thomas. And, I'm just picking from
Return of the Dragon.
Yeah, it had some joints in there though. I got in trouble singing Thong Song at school. It was because you're supposed to like bring something and sing it, or just do something.
Whoa! You did
you did that.
I did it. I'm second grade because
you brought that.
I brought Thong Song. Chicks
You're a legend, man. I'm not even mad at that, but that's hilarious.
You know what I'm saying? So, just in the middle of the class, by the chalkboard, just singing the Thong Song. That's what I did. Looking back on it, that's hilarious. But
I'm sure. Oh my God.
But that's like, for me, it was always the oldies. It was always, so. But I appreciated the ones that, like the songs that would be on the album that no one would really listen to. That, joints that people didn't really rock with. So, but I mean, it's now like people that inspire me. Kanye, of course, Drake, of course. I'm a Drake stan.
Definitely.
I'll say it loud and proud.
I say it.
Drake stan, man. But I love Travis Scott. I think he's definitely an innovator of the game. Love Kendrick, love J. Cole, love Jay-Z. Like, I mean, for me, like I said, I absorb so much music, especially in our culture, but also my favorite band is Highly Suspect. Like I listen to rock. You know what I'm saying? I listen to alternative. Unfortunately, I listen to folk a little bit, but I can't tell you.
Unfortunate.
It is unfortunate
that's cool.
in my household, because I always get told to turn it off. So, but it's like I like to study music, so its influences can come from anywhere for me.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Just when it comes to making R&B music specifically, do you think you can make good R&B music without being in love?
Yeah, I do. I think my best R&B was for my toxic stage. Like I think it takes a certain amount, especially nowadays, like because of the way music is too. Everybody's toxic. Everyone's got a little bit toxic in them. You know what I'm saying? Like if you listen to the lyrics that are in these R&B songs, like Brent's so toxic. But I like that part because it's like it's bringing the humanity of love out. You know what I'm saying? Like what's real. Like it's so much ugly that comes in relationships. So much ugly that just comes in dating. You ain't gotta be in love, but just R&B is about that whole process. You know what I'm saying? It's about finding yourself. It's about, love. It's about breakups. It's about being a thought. You know what I'm saying? It's about whatever. You know what I'm saying? But it's put so vividly, and that's what's so dope about it now. So I think that the not being in love part allows you to, because you gotta find something else to talk about.
Facts. that?
You know what I'm saying? So what are you talking about? Like, even if you're talking about love, what angle are you coming from? So I think that it's more exciting for me, you know, to when I'm in my like little toxic bubble and I'm just kind of doing my own thing. And then there's like, because you also not just talking about one person. You know, like I have albums on Sober. There's like 4 voicemails from 4 different women, all in the same time period. So was I in love? I wanted to be, but I wasn't, because I was just toxic. You know what I'm saying? But it got some beautiful. It brings out beautiful songs, man. It brings beautiful songs. So
Respect.
I dig it.
Respect.
I dig that side of it.
Respect. Talk about your albums. Talk about just the mindset going into both of them, and also too, just, you know, how did you come to put certain records on a project? Because I know how it is. It's a process when you are picking records. So talk about those 2 things.
I guess I'm gonna start from now and then go back. So for this one,
first of all, when I met him, he had 300 songs and wanted to play all them motherfuckers. I'm like, hell no.
I have hella songs. But I mean, I kind of create. Like I have a direction when I create. So it's like if I'm in album mode, it's not just creating a bunch of random songs and then piecing them together. Like I have an idea of what I'm going to talk about this entire album, or who I'm gonna talk about. You know. So for this situation, this album came when my situation really, I got in a relationship. So the songs are like about this particular relationship, but the whole relationship's been like, so, you know, it looked pretty, but on the real of it, it's like, it's a real one. So the real ones come with so much, especially when like both y'all not fully ready for it. You know what I'm saying? And then you trying to shed that skin from like old stuff, you know what I'm saying? But you gotta, like, that's the thing, shedding it together is like, it's messy sometimes. So this whole album was specifically about just this journey, you know what I'm saying? And I think it's really dope. Like Thursday itself, only on Thursday, her name is Thursday. Yeah, so, you know, it's about her. So yeah, I think that was one of the hottest records I had made in the time with Noonie too. Like when we had first met, he had sent me a beat pack.
Only on Thursday.
Yeah, he had sent me a beat pack, and that just happened to be one. Record never come out, but it wasn't what I wanted it to be, but it was hot, and it gave me an idea, and I started creating off for that premise for about a year straight. You know what I'm saying? Plus the relationship just kept changing, so it gave me stuff to write about the whole time. So for this one, it was just like, we knew what we created sonically. Like when it was done, we was just like, yeah, that was it. Like it fit. Like especially when we were going in there, we started like from scratch, because that was the best part about it.
Yeah, that's the best thing.
Yeah, we sitting there and we got nothing, but just not even ideas. It was just like, all right, let's just play something and see where it goes. And that was really the most beautiful part about the joints you created on this, you know. But I'm the type, it's just me in the studio, really. Like nobody, there's no engineer, there's no nothing. I mix and do everything myself, and then he come and touch it. So sometimes I come in there and he already has some loaded up. I'm like, all right, yeah, let's do that. And then he leave, come back, song done.
Wow.
So, but it was a really organic process for this album, and it was really easy to write. Like I didn't even write Ratchet Love Song or Free Bands or Closure. I just went in there with a bottle and just
with a bottle.
Drink of choice.
Yeah.
What's your drink of choice?
It switches. Okay. Like it was tequila. It was tequila during that period. Before that, it was whiskey. Before that, it was wine.
Yeah. Okay.
And now it's vodka.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
weird. Yeah. Tito's straight.
Got you.
It's for diet purposes.
Okay.
It's not because I like it.
Makes sense.
It lasts longer than any bottle I've ever bought.
I'm sure.
Like a week.
Yeah.
Like straight week straight.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was a dope process, man. Dope process. Let's go back.
Yeah, I mean,
Relapse.
Talk about the
Relapse. So Relapse was I'm releasing an album called Rehab next, and that'll be the end of the trilogy, which was Sober, Relapse, and Rehab.
Dope.
So the trilogy was pretty much about just my experiences through relationships and becoming a man. So like the first one got started when I was 21, 22, 22, and I'm 28 now. So there's so much evolution in the projects because it's me talking completely about my life, about my relationships, where I'm at, what I'm doing, from when I was in college to when I was trapping and, you know, trying to make it in this music. So it goes through all of that. And Relapsed was the one where, because after Sober, I was like, I'm not doing this love thing no more. I'm going to focus on this music. Shit started to take off for me. And I'm like, cool, I'm going to just ride with that. And then I was cleaning up my life and everything. And then Relapsed was, that didn't really work out that way. It didn't work out the way I planned it at all. Complete 360. So it's kind of, and it's still talking about the same girl, because like this relationship kind of fixed my life. You get what I'm saying? It's like, and then I had a kid. Another kid, yeah. So that it was like everything that I needed to happen to realign me happened in this. So, but Relapse was like, it was talking about the journey to getting there, which was rough. It was a rough one. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, trying to shed that skin, that dead weight is tough. So the Relapse was always the whole thing was talking about that. Whole thing. And then Sober, which was the first one, is before all of that. This was all the women I was dealing with on the same album.
Wow.
Yeah. Voicemails. Yeah, I'm probably gonna slack for that for the rest of my life. but
There's only 4 voicemails.
4 voicemails, yeah. One of them was just a fling, and she just happened to come to the studio. I was like, you trying to hop on this real quick?
Right.
Yeah, but it was like, that's what I was in. I was in that state of trying to figure it out. But like I said, I wanted to be in love. I really wanted a relationship. You know, like I ain't really trying to run these streets forever with these brides, because, you know what I'm saying, we know what's out here. I ain't got to say it. We know what's out here. So Sober was that period of my life when I was doing that. Yeah, and Rehab is now everything being good. You know what I'm saying? God's working in my life amazingly. You know, I'm out of the streets. I'm not really fooling around with nobody. Like the whole circle of people I had gone. And it's just a whole new set of just positive, dope influences. You know, like this guy sitting next to me. You know what I'm saying? And he can attest to the fact, I'm sure he's seen a major change in me, just character-wise, from when we first started. Because I definitely was a completely different artist.
Interesting. Talk about that, kid. Like, what changes did you see in the music or just the personality?
Music, definitely. I mean, just definitely a growth from that, and then, you know, just different habits, and you know what I'm saying. Like, you just, I don't know. Sometimes you just it's nothing you can just pinpoint. It's just like, oh yeah, like this. Hey, you look different than last year. Last year we would have did whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It's all within the process. You know what I mean? I'm sure I done grew in a way that I can't even put a pinpoint on.
Majorly.
You know what I mean? So it's like and that's bigger than the sound of production. That's, you know what I mean? That's just how I would even deal with certain things. You know, just change.
I got more patience these days.
Probably.
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 Respect. So I do like to ask people about, you know, the business aspect of things too, because that's always important. We do try to give people some free game out there. So what would be your advice to producers, to artists, you know, other people that want to do their thing in music, and just how they should go about just getting their name out there, getting their sound out there, that type of thing?
On the artist aspect, and this is also like me coming from the point of getting it together myself, and like finally being in a position, in a mental state to where, you know, I'm making the right decisions and not expecting the right decisions to get made for me. And that's the biggest thing. It's like, always understand that you got the power. At no point did I ever have to deal with anything that I dealt with outside of me deciding to deal with it. And that's just real in music. You know, I was always waiting for someone else to do it to me because I had this person to do it and this person to do it, or, you know what I'm saying, just like trying to not do anything but music. And when you ain't in that position yet, it's not a smart idea. It's not, unless you're paying people buku checks and good money to get it done. That's the motivator for everyone to make it work right there. So it's like, if that doesn't exist, then you banking on friendship for your success. You banking on a loyalty off of, you know, tenure. And that's where you're gonna go wrong. You gotta work at it and do everything. Like, and that's when I started doing everything, when I started making sure I was in charge of my visuals, I was in charge of covers, I was in charge of my page, my content, everything. I work it like a job.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And when I started doing that, it just started changing. You know, like the doors there were already so many open doors, but they got open wider. Right. You know what I'm saying? And people started paying attention to that. So, but also it took a lot of studying. I had to, you know what I'm saying? Because if no one's gonna do it for you, you gotta learn all this yourself. You know what I'm saying? You gotta learn how these contracts work. You gotta learn what these percentages are. You gotta learn what you're giving away up front and the back end. You gotta learn that. You know what I'm saying? As an artist, because if you don't, you can't even be in the conversation. Because it don't matter whether or not you're there if you don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Facts.
You know, so it's like it's really that part that you can't negate. It's just learning the business. Because the talent's cool, man. You can be talented all day long. You know what I'm saying? I'm talented. God popped me out this thing. That don't mean nothing in this game if you don't know what you're doing and how you doing it, right? Even in business, even if you got to take a L on certain deals or this and that, understand that maybe that's for a bigger win. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, because if you know business, you know how to play it. So just learn the business. That changes everything. There's not even a conversation that happens as far as my business now that I'm not involved in. How many artists can say that? And that's not gonna change, you know, because I'm setting it up that way. My paperwork is being set up that way. You know, my business, my LLCs is set up that way, you know. But it took me 27.
Hey.
You know, but it's like I got it. You know what I'm saying? But it's like because you get taught as an artist that you're not supposed to do nothing but music, which it's so irritating when people tell artists that, like, no, you just need to focus on the music. That's how am I supposed to do that when I am the business?
Absolutely.
So I'm supposed to just sit back and like, oh, they'll get it. They got it. Nah, because they usually don't. Not for you, at least. Because, like, who really is going to look out for you and your best interest more than you? In business. So, you know, always make sure you got your hand in it. At the end of the day, these people work for you. You don't work for your manager. You pay him.
Facts.
You know, like I get a lot of artists like, yo, I talk to my manager, do you want to do it? And you tell them that you want to do it. Get it done. You want to look like that? And they're working with you, not the other way around. So, and it wasn't until I got that in my head where I was just like, okay, cool. And if you work like that, you can't blame nobody else for your failures. You know what I'm saying? There'll be people that help with your success, but they're not responsible for your success. Absolutely. So stop looking for anybody else to be responsible for your success. Be responsible for your own.
Real shit.
That's my advice.
Okay. Love it. Kid.
Yeah, as a producer, I just feel like it's about finding your lane first. I was kind of touching on it earlier, but just finding out where you want to be in the industry. You know what I mean? Just and find out who to study, and you know, YouTube that's the biggest blessing of all time. So it's really just no excuse right now. You know what I mean?
Too much information.
It's so much information, but I think that's the biggest thing though, because even with all the information, if you don't know your purpose or where you want to, whatever stable or whatever mark you want to leave in the game, you can still get lost in the shuffle, you know. So that's I mean, obviously learn the business, you know what I mean, obviously find you know, a good team, you know, it always gonna take a good team, but before that, man, you gotta know what's the team gonna surround if you don't know your purpose, you know what I mean. You look at any game with a team, you know what I mean, if you look at the Lakers though, if the whole thing is around AD and LeBron, hey, the job is to helping them.
Right.
Now, if you can come up in between helping them, cool, you know what I'm saying? But hey, they gonna lead us and blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? You gotta learn that, you know, your position, and before you give somebody else a position, you gotta know your position in life. You know what I mean? So, I think that's the biggest thing. That's even what I had to learn. You know what I mean? Yeah, I had to learn that just from thinking I was I can do it all. Like, that was my biggest trouble of all of my whole career, is me trying to do it all. You know what I mean? So, you know, now I'm getting to the point of, man, like, I can let this person handle this because now I know what needs to be handled. Before, when people wanted to help me, it was, I don't know what the hell I need help with.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even though I need help, I just don't know how to tell you I need help.
So my final question, fellas, to both of you guys, is to define the word progress. You know, I ask all my guests that, and Kid, you know, I asked you that probably
Right.
maybe 3 or 4 times at this point. But I feel like the word progress, it changes every day, you know, and that's what we're
sure.
striving to do in life, and,
Yeah.
you know, personal and music. So what does the word progress mean to both of you guys?
For me, which is interesting, that's the word too, because I always had the saying, moving in this game, especially when like you have the idea to be independent for such a long time, right? You can't have your expectations all the way through the roof, you know? So I always just say if progress is all that you're working for, that's all you're gonna expect. And progress to me is just moving forward and towards that goal, you know? So if you picture your career, your goals in your life like a path, right? As long as you're doing this, right, and not stopping, not looking around, because you don't need to, just walk and just, you know, even if it's with faith, you know, like just walk and go forward. That's what it means to me, just to keep moving, because it's a lot of barriers, a lot of obstacles. Sometimes it's a damn sinkhole right there, you know what I'm saying? But just keep going, find a way, because there's always a way. Like, and I can, from being homeless, you know what I'm saying, from having nothing in my pocket, trying to figure out whether or not I'm gonna get gas or I'm gonna eat. I've been there, so I understand it, I get it, I know. But one thing I can say that for me, I just never stopped moving and working towards what I wanted to work on. I found a way to get it done, you know, and it seemed impossible at the time, but you know, it happened. I made a way, and I'm always better when I come out of that strife, you know. So to me, it just means keep moving forward.
Yeah, progress is growth, you know, in simple terms, but, you know, I feel like the biggest thing is, at least not even at least, in life, is knowing to grow your mindset, you know, always be willing to learn, always be open to learning, you know what I mean? I think a lot of times when you look at the older generation, they're stuck in their ways, so it's like they don't think nothing can change. They don't think nothing, you know, how this is this how I am, or this is, you know what I mean? It's just, this is just how I am. This is how life has always been. And, you know, so then at that point there is no progress because you won't let it be, you know what I mean? So I feel like the biggest thing is just opening your mindset, and to even bigger than music. You know, I do things outside of music, you know, and that feeds music sometimes, you know what I mean? So like I said, just knowing your purpose, knowing the producer or knowing the artist or whatever you want to be, you know, you can deal with progress in different realms to feed that energy. You know what I mean? So that's what it is for me.